The wind howled across the dry Texas plains as I pulled my truck onto the long, winding gravel driveway. Behind me, a rusty trailer creaked under the weight of my modest but sturdy ranch cabin, a prefab custom unit I'd poured my savings into. After years of saving, planning, and surviving a brutal divorce, I was finally settling down on the land I inherited from my late grandfather. 48 acres of prime rural soil passed through generations of stubborn men and tougher women. I didn't care much for community boards, social clubs, or nosy neighbors. That's why I moved out here. Solitude, peace, ownership, the kind where you don't answer to anyone but yourself. That serenity lasted exactly 4 hours. I had just backed the trailer into the clearing near the old oak tree where I had planned to anchor the cabin when the rumble of a golf cart shattered the quiet. It pulled up fast and jerked to a stop like it owned the place. Out stepped a thin, hawk-eyed woman in pearls and high-end activewear, the kind of ranch casual you see in overpriced catalogs. Her lips were pursed before she even opened her mouth. "Excuse me," she said, voice tight. "You can't place that cabin there." I blinked. "Sorry?" "This land is part of the South Ridge Ranch Estates HOA. All structures must be approved and built according to our development plan. That trailer violates our code." "It's not a trailer," I said calmly. "It's a modular cabin. I own this land. There's no HOA." "Oh, there is," she said, pulling a folder from her fancy tote. "I'm Karen Devlin, president of the HOA. We annexed this area 2 years ago during Phase 3 of our expansion." I laughed. I didn't mean to, but it slipped out. "You annexed private property?" "We followed all proper procedures," she said flatly. "If you were unaware, that's unfortunate, but this area falls under our jurisdiction now." I could feel my pulse climbing. "Lady, this land has been in my family since 1894. I've got mineral rights, water rights, even airspace rights. You can't just slap rules on it." She gave me that insufferable Karen smile, the kind that says, "I already called the cops." And sure enough, her next words were, "If you don't relocate that cabin, I'll have to involve law enforcement. It's a code violation." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cuss. I just nodded. "Do what you have to do." And she did. Within an hour, a county sheriff's cruiser rolled up, poor kid barely out of academy. He looked confused even being there. I showed him a deed, my survey papers, even pulled out the plat map Grandpa had framed in the barn. The officer seemed sympathetic but shrugged. "They filed a complaint, so I got to report it. You might want to get a lawyer, sir." I thanked him, finished anchoring my cabin, and spent the night sleeping under the stars with a loaded shotgun and a clenched jaw. The war had begun. The next day I drove into town and pulled every document I could find. Tax records, annexation attempts, zoning overlays, took them straight to a real estate attorney named Mel Archer, a grizzled old cowboy in a suit who once sued the state over a broken fence line and won. Mel spent 20 minutes flipping through my files before he whistled, "Son, you've got something real interesting here." He pointed to a discrepancy in the zoning map. The South Ridge Ranch HOA had filed an expansion request, but it was never formally approved by the county because my grandfather had submitted an objection shortly before he died. That objection triggered a freeze on the expansion. The HOA never followed up. "In other words," Mel said, eyes gleaming, "they're squatting in legal limbo, and they just picked the wrong guy to piss off." We got to work. Mel filed motions, public records requests, and formal cease and desist. I hired a surveyor to restake the original property lines. Meanwhile, Karen and her army of Karens began a full-scale assault. I got daily notices taped to my door: grass too long, fencing not the code, mailbox too rural. One day I caught a man with a clipboard trespassing and photographing my livestock. When I confronted him, he said, "Just conducting a compliance review." I replied, "Conduct one from the public road or you'll be reviewing your dental records." But the final straw came 2 weeks later when Karen called the county and claimed I was operating an unlicensed RV park. 2 sheriff's deputies and a zoning official showed up to investigate. I gave him sweet tea, showed him the blueprints, and pointed to the chickens. This is my home, just me, the hens, and the wind. The zoning guy laughed. You're fine, but they sure are persistent. That was the moment I decided to go nuclear. I dug deeper into South Ridge Ranch Estates. Turns out a huge chunk of their development, about 60 lots, including Karen's $4 million mansion, extended well past the HOA's original approved boundary, not just on the my land, but other parcels too. The HOA had been selling lots, building homes, and issuing fines based on false jurisdiction. And here's where it got juicy. The land they built Karen's mansion on, it was part of my inheritance, never legally transferred or sold. The deed still had my grandfather's name on it. Mel nearly spilled his coffee when I handed it to him. We got him by the throat. We filed suit, a big one. We served Karen and the entire board with legal action to cease operations, vacate unauthorized properties, and compensate for damages, trespassing, and land theft. The county got involved fast. Turns out they were already investigating irregularities in the HOA's filings. Then came the eviction notices. One by one, homeowners who had bought in good faith learned the truth. They didn't own the land under their homes. Karen had sold dreams based on lies. The title companies panicked. Mortgages froze. Lawsuits piled up. And Karen? Oh, she tried to spin it. She's just a vindictive neighbor, she cried on the local news. We built a community here. He's destroying it. But I had receipts, and county officials, and historic maps dating back to the 1930s. A judge issued a temporary injunction. No more HOA enforcement. No more dues collection. Karen's authority? Gone. Her mansion? Sitting atop land she didn't own, and I wasn't selling. I offered the displaced homeowners a lifeline. My attorney helped him file fraud claims against the HOA and its board. I let some lease their land back at $1 a year until they sorted things out. They were victims. Karen was the villain. When Karen tried to confront me at a town hall, I stood calmly and said, "This land was mine before you even knew it existed. My grandfather built it. You tried to take it with lies and paper, but now the land speaks for itself, and it's evicting you." Her face went crimson, her voice cracked, and for the first time, she had no reply. Months later, Karen's mansion was vacated. The courts awarded me damages. The HOA was dissolved. The land was quiet again. Sometimes I sit on my porch, coffee in hand, and look at that vacant mansion, like a ghost house from a bad dream. I didn't tear it down. I left it as a monument, a reminder to every Karen who thinks power is a matter of paperwork and posturing. Out here, land remembers, and justice, when it finally arrives, comes with boots on the ground and a deed in hand. Thanks for watching this heartwarming tale from Pixar Tales. If the story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a little magic today. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing these stories to life. Subscribe for more unforgettable moments, and we'll see you in the next tale.